What separates high achievers from the rest? How can someone go from being broke to wealthy beyond their dreams? From being fat to a world-class athlete? From being underconfident to being in absolutely tremendous mental shape? Jay Potic is a corporate professional turned author, speaker, and coach. Throughout his professional and entrepreneurial career of over 14 years, he's impacted 50,000 plus lives across 7 countries. Join him as we take a closer look at the stories and methods of ordinary people who've achieved extraordinary results regardless of the difficult circumstances we all face in life. Welcome to the Alpha X Podcast.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jay Parekh and welcome to the Alpha X Podcast. Now today, you're going to be meeting someone who I've grown to really admire, somebody who's been a training partner, somebody I've worked with over the years, and somebody who's grown to be a really dear friend. And the thing about today's episode is you'll realize in everybody's life, in every single person's life, there comes a time when they have to make a choice, right? And this choice determines who you are as a person. One choice, one option is to live the safe life, to compromise, to settle, right? And the other option is not to take no for an answer. The other option is to follow your dreams, to follow your passions, to, look at that path that is less trodden, look at that risky proposition and taking it up, right? Even if it means more hardship in the short term, because you know that over the long term, it'll all be worth it. And my guest today, his name is Vishnu Warrior. He's done exactly that when he decided not to go with the plushy, comfortable corporate life and decided to become a martial artist instead. And what he's accomplished over the last couple of years, he's still very young, he has a long way to go. But what he's already accomplished and what you'll realize about his psychology, I hope that you can take some lessons back and maybe take a good look at your own life and see if there's some time where you have actually made that choice for yourself. And if you have, well, are you happy with it? And if you're not happy with it, what are you going to do about it? So I hope you enjoyed this episode. And without anything else to say, let's get started with it. What's up? What's up, Vishnu? How are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me on here.
No, of course, buddy. Look, I've been actually wanting to have you on the show for like a really long time because I've known you for a really long time. Number one, I've seen you when you were just kind of not starting out, but at least starting out with Team Relentless, and I've
Yeah.
seen you grow like from there to where you are now.
And I would consider that as starting out only.
Well,
I would consider that as starting out.
yeah, I get
Alright.
what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but what people probably, know or don't know, if I've done the introduction right to this
Yeah.
podcast, then they know that, you very recently become a Muay Thai world champion. Am I right? Or intercontinental
Uh,
champion?
yeah, something of that sort. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have the belt over there, if it's ready, then you can show it. If not, then we'll put up a
Oh,
picture of
it's
it.
right there. In fact, if you can see,
Yeah, I can see it.
it's right there. Do you want a better close up or something like that? I
No,
guess.
no. Actually, what you could do is, if you could send me a picture of it later on, I'll put it up.
Oh, for sure.
So I'll let people know. And what's really cool about that actually is when you started. I mean, I don't think that you had ever competed in Muay Thai before, right? When how had you? Any?
Not Muay Thai per se. So I actually competed in 2 striking competitions before I got here. So one was a district boxing fight, and the other one
Okay.
was like this kickboxing thing. So the district boxing was well, it was okay, like in terms of the organizing was very bad and all of that. Let's not get into that at all.
Sure,
But
sure.
that was, well, your average district boxing thing. The kickboxing one was a very shady thing that was happening in probably some small hall in some chawl in Dockyard Road, and it was something that one of my friends or teammates at that time, said that there was something happening, and we should try competing.
Yeah.
And
I'm not unfamiliar with, I mean, with the whole shady fight scene as well. But what I want to talk about is, so, this is not something that, let's face it, Vishnu, this wasn't your only choice in terms of a career,
no,
right?
not
There
really.
were there were there were other things that I know we were talking about, and your journey has been quite interesting. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
uh, I think it's really cool to see when people kind of follow through with their passion, and they start becoming successful there, which is what I'm seeing you do. Uh, but how did it all start? Like, how did you get here? Like, where, what, when you were in college, when you were studying, to the kind of decision making journey that you had to get yourself to where you are today. How did that happen? And if you want to just
Um.
take people through and let people know about you, because that's what I want them
Yeah.
to know your journey.
So I think most of this started when I was in school, maybe, I guess, because up until the sixth, even the seventh grade, maybe I was a very quiet, studious child, sort of a thing, and up to a point where I wouldn't call it bullying as such, because I don't think I was physically bullied at that age. More on the sense of mental bullying and putting down and stuff like that, to a point where I'm a small guy. I mean, even then I was a small kid, and even now I'm not that big in size. And back then, the only like when I got pissed off, I tried to answer back. I wasn't very good with my words then, so I tried fighting, and I used to get beaten up, right? And that's where it started, and it all the way from the eighth grade till the 10th, it was just a very rough. I mean, like it got to a point where there were drugs in school, this, that, and like even the kids. Like, say, I went to a pretty decent school in terms of, what do you call it? You can say like a good, a
Like a
high
good
school.
good socio-economical
Yeah,
background, like.
a good socio-economical background. And what used to happen was there were kids, say older kids from a slightly lower socio-economical background, who weren't living where like in the posh locality where I was. But they used to basically say that, what, let's, they used to come to the kids and ask and be like, bro, तेरे को कोई problem हुआ ना, मेरे को बुला, sort of a deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right, call me if
And
you need anything, kind of.
yeah, and yeah, that. And anytime I would ever get into and this used to happen a lot in school, like, used to get into fights over like the smallest things, right? I mean, किसी का P period था, किसी का football, free period था.
Is there
Yeah.
any one moment that or any one kind of um like any one thing that you remember that has happened to you, that was like a defining moment, like something
Man,
you.
yeah, like me feeling scared, because I hated that. I hated that more than anything. Because there was one point where I remember I got into this fight in school, and there were couple, like, and then I was being told that, dude, you know what, तू निकल जा बाबा, मतलब तू मार खाने वाला है, sort of a deal. And like, to a point where that whole idea of people coming to beat me up or whatever, regardless of what happened later, but that whole idea used to freak the crap out of me. I mean, I got so anxious at that point. I was so scared, and I have been beaten up quite a few times, if by multiple people, for you know shit like this. And
So did you
to a point
ever
where,
make a decision, like in your mind, like, what, I don't want to face this ever again? Like, was there ever a point
yeah,
where,
yeah, I mean, so
when was
it
that? Tell me
basically
about
got.
that.
So it was just that, man. Like, there was one time, I don't even remember what the fight was on. It was in school, but it was not with the school kids. It happened on a completely different tangent, right? Where some kids from another school, had a tiff with somebody that I knew, and I just want to speak to them, but it didn't. It turned out to be a lot more than that, and like I went alone. I was very nice about it that I want to speak, but turns out that they got people and stuff like that, and the people that the guy got were aggressive to begin with, and one thing led to another, turned into a fight. I got beaten the shit out of, not even gonna lie there. And I just went home that day. I slept it off. I got back up and I was like, you know what? I don't give a shit what happens. I never want to, feel that. I just felt so, I don't know how to call it, inferior. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't show my face anywhere. I wasn't hurt, like badly hurt or anything. I mean, I didn't have like a black eye or a crazy bruises.
It
Yeah,
was more like a wound over here, like, like
yeah,
the ego, like,
yeah, man,
like, how could that
yeah,
happen
and
to me? How could I be so helpless? You know, I,
yeah.
I remember something very similar happening to me before I started taking up martial arts seriously. So I started much later than you, obviously. I was, in my mid to late 20s. And
Okay.
I remember this one time somebody was rude to my mom, and
Okay.
I wanted to, I wanted to say something, and I did say something, and in fact, I even pushed him a little bit, and that resulted in a fight, which pretty much got us into a police station, and obviously everything was sorted out, but I didn't feel in control of the situation. I didn't feel like I was on top of it. I felt like, that it was chaos, that I didn't really have
Yeah.
control, and I wanted to never be in that situation ever again where I didn't feel like I had control over what was happening, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the reasons, one of the few times I realized, like, I don't know how to handle myself, and I need to figure that out. And the funny thing is that all of us, I think, have not I think I know have these moments in our lives, these
Yeah.
defining moments that kind of, either they kind of build these um, very, you could say, I would call them like empowering beliefs, like beliefs that kind of empower you to move forward and grow in life. Like, you had two choices that day. You could have said, I'm going to hide away from all of this forever and never
Yeah.
get into a conflict. Or you could say, I'm going to build myself up and
Yeah.
become the kind of person where, I could pretty much not have to worry about being in this kind of
Uh,
a situation ever again.
yeah.
So then what happened? Like, how because I know that, you it wasn't that you decided that day and then you
Oh,
automatically
no, no,
changed.
no, no, no.
So what
So
happened after
then,
that?
yeah, I mean, that was the day where I decided that, okay, maybe I do want to start up some sort of classes or something like that. Uh, and that's where it all started. And, I started looking for places and I did find places. But that's the thing, especially and this is my problem with the scene in India, that I got duped a lot. I mean, I wasn't really taught anything, and I was what a young. I mean, I was a teenager, and I just wanted to learn. And basically, I was willing to learn anything that anybody was teaching, right? And yeah, I mean, it was like I kept going from one place to another, where I just realized that then every place that I bounced to next, I just realized that okay, I just wasted all my time in the previous place, right? And to a point where I was training with these group of people under this one guy, and the thing is that he like I was fed a lot of bullshit, to say the least, right? I was fed a lot of bullshit, like you know what, you got this, you're doing really well, you'll kill it, sort of a deal, like it just for no rhyme or reason just got my self call it confidence. I don't even know what to say, but my confidence went up till there, like to a point where I like my confidence was probably right up there with maybe some sort of like a UFC champion who's been fighting for like ages, and then I ended up going for this one box like that, like I said, the district boxing competition that I went to,
Right.
which by the way, my coach at the time felt it inconvenient to show up to,
Hmm.
where I was literally sitting over there throughout the we were called there at 9 a.m. I was sitting there throughout the day. Like two of my other friends or teammates at the time came over there, and what ended up happening is I lost it, to say the least, in a very humiliating fashion, right? And for somebody to have built me up in my head so much, and to go there and lose in a fashion where I could not even touch the guy, like I don't think I landed a single punch on him. It got to a point where the second round the fight got called off because I got like the third count or something like that. Like I think I'm not quite aware of the rules even now in boxing per se, but I think if you get a count like one, two, three, a couple of times, the fight stopped and they called it a technical knockout, right? So that's what happened. And I was on my way home and I was fucking crying, man. I was crying. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Because I thought I was supposed to be the best.
Right.
What the fuck just went down? Like,
Right.
and it's not even like it was a close fight. And there were people who came over there who said that what you should like I who just told me that you have talent. I think you have talent. You should come down to our club, our boxing club. It's here. You should come down to Sai or something like that. They just kept saying. And I was like, sure, sure. But I wasn't in the mind space to listen to any of that stuff. I was just so heartbroken about the fact that I just got my ass whooped for so long.
Wow.
And then I go back and I start, and then it's crazy. Like you fought as well. So you know how cornering is supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to instruct in a way. You're not supposed to just scream at the person who's fighting inside, right? You,
Right.
you need to tell the guy. That's the whole point of the corner, right? To see things that the fighter can't see. But
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
the fight went the first round, right? And I got my ass whooped in the first round. I
That's right.
came out in the first round break.
We could, in
Eh,
fact, talk a little bit about cornering for everybody who's listening in. So,
Oh yeah,
when you're in a professional fight, you have your corner with you, and the corner basically is giving you instructions on what to do, because they can see the fight in a like a almost like a global scale. Like they can see
yeah,
what's happening from the outside while you're inside. And it's very similar to when you have your own business consultant, and the consultant
yeah.
can give you advice from a more, because you're too connected to the business because
To
you're
the
in
thing,
it,
yeah.
right? So
And
it's the
most of
same
the
thing with a fight.
Yeah, exactly. And so now that what what a corner is supposed to do. I got out of that first round sitting there not knowing what the fuck just went down, right? And I'm sitting
Right.
there and I realized that, and this guy comes to me and he just tells me, Vishnu, stop fucking around and go do your thing. And I look at him and I nod, right? But I don't know what he's talking about because I thought I was doing my thing. I thought I was doing my thing, but I don't know what happened there. So I was like, okay. I go there, I get my ass up for another half round, and I go back, and all of that's done. I go back and I show the bit, and I go back and I tell my coach what happened, and then he's like, "Who told you to fight? Who taught you to fight like this? You know, this is this how I taught you how to fight?" And he snowed me for fighting the way I did, and I was like, okay, shit. I let that go. Couple of years down, I went again for another kickboxing fight. Where again, it was too inconvenient for him to show up to the fight. Just by the way, and I again ended up getting my ass whooped over there as well. Got back home. I didn't cry then, but it was like, okay, this has already happened once before. So I was it got to a point where I was used to it. And then
Wow,
now
that's
all of this,
interesting, right? That's interesting that you say that. It's like, when the same thing happens again and again, it becomes kind of like almost like a proof, like, oh yeah, that's what's supposed to happen, right? And like
yeah,
I'm supposed to feel this way, I'm supposed to lose
yeah,
it, and becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy almost, that
yeah, yeah.
because you think that this is what's supposed to happen, this is the way it's supposed to be,
Hmm.
that it'll just keep happening, when actually you did have talent, you could have done better, you just needed better guidance, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't know it at that point, and I was like, you know what? I just got back, and I was like, screw this. let's just get
What
back into
kept you
training.
going? What I'm curious about is like, you had back-to-back losses. I mean, you had no reason to keep going. You could
Yeah,
have just hung up your gloves and said, "Fuck
this
this.
is not for me.
This
Yeah.
is not for me." Yeah, right. I keep losing. Maybe I'll never be able to do anything over it. So what kept you moving forward?
Man, I was ashamed. I'd be ashamed to do that, man. I mean, like, I don't think I'd ever be able to look anybody in the eye if I would have, what do you call it, hung up the gloves then. Because it were two humiliating losses and you give up. I mean, it's just the beginning, man. I mean, and that too. I mean, there's a world ahead of me, man. Like, why would I give up then? And even if I did, like, actually the main thing was because I knew for a fact that if I would have stopped, or if I wouldn't have continued or whatever, I won't have respect for myself. Forget, I didn't care about what other people thought at that point, which in a way I did, but more than anything I was like, I won't have respect for myself, how would anybody else have respect for me?
Correct.
Right.
I get
So
what you
which
mean.
is why I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. And it got to a point where I was taking classes. Like my coach said that okay, there were only one or two people showing up for class. I'm Vishnu, why don't you take class? The class cancelled, sort of a thing. And then I ended up going to Thailand. So I'm in a Tiger Muay Thailand. I asked my dad, I just wanted to go. When I read about it, I read that anybody and everybody is allowed to go there and train. It's not like closed thing. You
Yep.
can just pay and train. And I was like, I asked my dad, and him being the loving father that he was, he just said, okay, go for it, go for it. And I ended up staying there for a month where I trained. I met a lot of new people and stuff like that. And one of the coaches over there actually told me about this place because evolution, because one of the coaches over there had actually fought two people from this gym, from evolution, right? And he said that if there's anything, these people actually are legit fighters, right? If you want a place to train, I think this is the place you should go to. And I came back, and I think I came back on a June 7th or 8th, and I spent like that week researching about the gyms here as well as the gym that I was recommended.
Which year was this?
2017,
Okay.
2017. And yeah, and next thing you know, I came over here, and this place, Evolution, was the closest to like in terms of the structure and the way the training's conducted to what I experienced in Thailand. And I saw some
Correct.
professional killers over there, man. I mean, not even joking. So I was like, okay, maybe this is definitely the right place to go. And a couple of sessions down the line, I saw the whole team's attitude, the head coach's attitude more than anything else. And I was like, you know what? This is the place to be. And I didn't look back after that. And next thing you know,
So, funnily enough, this is a very like this is exactly how things played out for me. I went to Thailand as well, if you remember.
yeah,
I went to Phuket top team, and after I came back from there, I'm like, listen, I can't go back to the way I was training. I need to
yeah,
find something closer to this.
yeah.
And I was actually looking up online, looking for places, and I found some pictures of Team Relentless from Evolution Gym.
Yeah, I think we joined the place at the same time,
Pretty
around the
much
same time.
around the same time, right? So I saw some pictures of people training in the gi, and nobody at that point in time, like hardly anybody would train in the gi here in India at that point. So I said, wow, I need to get back to training in the gi like I used to in Thailand. So
And yeah.
that's what got me to check out the gym, and that's how I got started. So
It's a funny thing, right? More than anything, when I got here and I rolled with people, especially, I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if another Nishit remembers this, but I remember getting here with the first morning session that I did, a BJJ one, where you were there and I think a couple of other people were there, where
yeah,
I got mauled, to say the least. And I think you guys were still a couple of months down in training in
correct.
evolution when I joined it. And I came and I just, like, after the session, I just came and asked you guys, are you guys blue belts? And you just looked at me like, no, bro, we're white belts. We just started off. And I was like, what are you saying, man? What are you saying? And that's another thing when I knew that, okay, this place has got a really good level as well,
Yeah.
because,
And now
and then,
Vishnu mauls all of us.
that's,
That's been the progression. So
that's not true at all, but okay.
but you know what? I think what really is so cool, Vishnu, and I don't know if you realize this, because when I talk to people, right, my work involves me talking to a lot of people every day, and I think the single biggest reason that people don't achieve what they set out to achieve, health, whether it's in martial arts, whether it's in athletics, it's in the business, in finances, wealth. The one biggest, even in relationships for that matter, or just socializing, why they don't achieve their goal is because they've never made a decision that they're going to achieve this no matter what. Like it's not a decision. It's like, let me try it out. When you did
Yeah,
this, somewhere deep down, you had already made a decision that I am going to do this no matter what. Right. So when you failed, it didn't matter because you just used it as, oh, you know what? This is just the beginning. I have the whole world in front of me. You know, there was a decision that you made somewhere deep down that there was no other option for you.
yeah, I guess so.
And I think this part of your story, like I've never heard this particular, like this what you shared with me today, although I've known you for a few years now, you've never
Yeah.
ever shared this particular aspect of your journey with me, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, man.
um,
I mean, this is actually a very, I don't know. I mean, I don't really talk about this too much, because
you
the
should.
thing is, I mean, I think of all, because a lot of this, in a way, like a lot of my past kind of embarrasses me as well to a certain extent. And one of
I think
this,
it's your biggest strength, man, because imagine how many people. So now, Vishnu, you are training people at the gym that one day you got mauled at.
yeah,
That's been your journey over the last, like 3-4 years, is that you
yeah,
you've grown to the point where now you're taking classes there. And how many people do you think come to that gym and do a few classes, and because they've not made that decision that you made, they give up because they get mauled, and they don't want to show up at the gym the next day, or they feel like, oh, it's just too hard, maybe it's not for me. But maybe if they just stuck around, they could accomplish amazing things, extraordinary things, you know.
no, I definitely agree. I think towards the end is just priority. Like, people just like, you just gotta prioritize what you want. And I mean, yeah, I do have a degree as well, but I don't feel like I really wanted to do something.
What's your educational
Different.
background, by the way? Like, what have you?
It's sports management. So I haven't done a post graduation. I've just done a graduation, right? Like an
Sure.
undergrad.
Mhm.
And I graduated, I guess, yeah, in 2019. And I studied sports management.
Okay.
So it's not exactly the same field, but a similar field, right? Just the business aspect of it. So I could have done something in that as well, but I wasn't really interested in that. I wanted to be in the front line. I wanted to be the one achieving those things, not
Helping other
managing.
people do it as well,
Yeah,
managing other people to do it.
managing other people who achieve those things, right? So
Right.
that was my mindset when I decided, when I was like, I don't want to do that. So,
That's
yeah.
interesting. So, what is next for you? Like, what do you wanna? What's your plans for yourself? What's your outcome? Where do you want to take this for yourself?
Man, to be honest, I know that I want to do something that nobody's done before, and I'm sure like a million people have said this as well. I mean, almost every fighter in the
Not,
world,
not, not really, man. Not really. Like
like,
maybe a lot of fighters, of course, when it's cool to say these things, and everybody says
yeah,
these things from that perspective. But if you look at, because fighters make up very small percentage of the population.
population, yeah, no,
Yeah,
definitely,
most people are like, they think that
no,
we're nuts to even practice something like this, because why would you want
yeah,
to do that? But I think martial arts is such a cool way to just have those habits that practice
Yeah.
that discipline. And even though I'm not a very big believer in discipline, I think once you see the growth in your own character through martial arts, it
Yeah.
becomes almost like a magnetic pull. Like you want to come and practice. Like you see Shazan, who's another person in the gym who's not a martial art. In fact, he's a musician. And for him, it's
Mm.
almost a risk. Like, what if he injures his fingers or something? But he still
Yeah.
comes and practices because there is this magnetic pull towards self development,
Yeah. Oh,
growing as a
definitely,
person, growing his
definitely.
character. So, but I do think that a lot of people, you know they're stuck in that almost like a 9 to 5 grind of going to work, doing something that maybe they don't really enjoy doing so much.
Yeah.
If given a choice, they probably wouldn't do it. They only do it because it helps them pay the bills. Well, for you it's the other way around, where you're doing something you enjoy and it happens to pay the bills you know
Yeah.
and I think that's pretty cool. And to say that you want to do something amazing over there, I think it's different you know
Yeah. And like I don't have a plan chalked out for myself in terms of like okay. I mean, yes. Do I have goals? Yes, I do. Like, do I have a goal saying that this is where I want to be in a couple of years? Yes, I do. But do I have a plan chalked out in terms of like a roadmap? I don't. I my I think that I'm on the right path because I'm doing what I need to be doing to be achieving my goals. Is to just keep going, right? That's
so
all.
what
And
are
I know I'm
you
at the right
like, where do you want to make a declaration here in front of everyone that this is what I'm going to do now in the next, because that would be, what I really think, when you say it, right, when you say it in front of people, that's when it becomes real. Because once it's
no,
here,
definitely.
then it's just like, okay, you know what, I'm the only person that kind of knows about this, and I can, if it happens it happens, if it doesn't happen it doesn't happen.
It
But when
doesn't
you
happen.
say it in front of
Oh
everybody,
yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I've said this a million times, right? Like I've said this out loud to my friends. I've said it out to my coach as well at some point or the other, where I do want to achieve great things. And great things means being the best. Right? I mean, I wouldn't be here if I wanted to, just be like I'm not here to just be any other guy in the field. Why would you want to do that, right? Why would anybody ever start off something without wanting to be the best in that? Right? That goes with anything. I mean, I think if you start off work at some point, right, like you start off at the bottom of the company or whatever, I'm sure everybody, or I don't even know if this is everybody, but definitely should have a goal that okay, I want to be at the top, right? I mean, I want to climb up to the top, and that should be a goal, right? If it's any less, why would I want? Like, I don't think I would be doing this if I wasn't thinking about being the best. And by being the best, I mean the best, not just like I don't know, winning this one belt, which is why like I'm only training harder that I'm one. I don't really this belt really doesn't mean. I mean, it does mean something to me in terms of how much work I've put in, but the belt in its sense really doesn't mean much to me. I don't know if I'm making any sense. It's just another
no, you are. In
accomplishment.
fact, I think that's enough said. I think the message of our conversation today,
Yeah,
enough
it's
said. That's it. Like, why would you want to do something if you're not going to be the best at it?
that's it. Yeah,
In
that's it.
fact, what you just said kind of like hit me right now. Like, why would I want to do something if I'm not the best at it?
Yeah, exactly.
Got to move
So
forward to become the
that
best in
that's
whatever
that's
it is that
my
I've chosen to do.
that's my thing, and I mean that's what I want to do. I 100% want to do, and I'm going to give it my 100%. Right? And I am giving it my 100%. And yeah, I mean that's all one can do. You can't really control the result. Right? All you can do is control what you do to get the result. The result comes or no, that's well. I'm a believer. I'm a spiritual man, so I believe that if God wills it, it happens. So yeah, I mean that's my thing. So if I'm just gonna keep doing my thing, and yeah, if God wills it, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be on the top at some point or the other. So yeah, I'm excited for
Vishnu, man,
that more
thank
than
you so
anything.
much. I think this has been just absolutely fantastic. It's such a brilliant conversation, and I think you hit the nail right on the head. with what you just mentioned. Like ultimately, you gotta know, you gotta make a decision about what you want to do in your life, and when you make that decision, it has to be a decision. You cannot dilly dally. It has to be, I've heard this saying that a decision is like an incision. You're cutting off all other possibilities besides your outcome, besides your goal, and you're cutting
Yeah.
every other possibility is cut off, and so you work as if that is the only possibility. you know
That's the thing why I mean a lot of the world champions or anything that you've ever heard of have been through some crazy downs, like say for example, you can take somebody like a Jose Aldo or something, where he was literally born and brought up in the favelas in Brazil, and I mean he didn't have any other option, right? I mean, he just had this one thing. And you've got so many stories of so many success stories of people who've reached the top who had nothing from the bottom, right? But what about success stories of people who actually had a lot of things or had a lot of options and actually did end up
and
achieving
still decided to go through and go
yeah,
the hard way.
because I feel like I don't know. I mean, I don't want like a lot of my friends, my family, my parents kept saying that you know what, you should have a second option. You should have like a degree, or why don't you just go to post grad, just go abroad? And I just want to tell them that look, that's literally me doing something with one foot out the door, right? Like if this fails, now that if this fails question comes, and you've already put one foot out that door,
Yeah.
thinking that okay, I probably won't be able to do this. But the second you put everything into that, and you be like, okay, if it fails, it fails. But I can't let it fail. I can't let it fail. I need to do something. I need to do everything I can to not let it fail, because this is the only option I got. If I think, even though I do have an option, I mean, I do have an educational background. I can do something in there. I'll survive. I'll live. I won't die hungry or some on the side of the road or something. I can promise you that. But, yeah, but like I just want to give it all. I'm here 100%. I'm not looking at I'm not looking at a fail safe or anything to fall back on. So yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people should think about
Yeah.
before they get into something, right? Because why? Like again, your question should be your why.
What's
Why
your
are you
why?
doing this? Yeah,
What's
what's
your
your
why?
why? But yeah,
So what is your why? I'm asking, what is your why?
to be honest, it's I've got something to prove to myself more than anything else. Like it's not to prove to it's not to prove to I'm just scared. I'm just scared all the time, man. I'm scared all the time of, like, more than anything, of doing this. I love it, but I'm really scared. I'm scared every day, man. I'm scared every day, and I hate being scared. And I don't want to be scared, man. I want to do something about it, right? So I'm just gonna keep doing this. And I know for a fact that I don't think I'm ever gonna stop being scared. I hope I do, but even if I don't, I'll at least get used to being scared, and I'll achieve I'll achieve something out of it. So
That's pretty
yeah,
cool, man. That's pretty cool.
yeah, and
Yeah, that's
that's
pretty cool. Yeah, that reminds me, my very first time uh, speaking on stage when I was, I don't know, 10 years old or something, 8 years old. I remember going up on stage. There was some small little school cultural thing that was happening. And I went up and I was in front of the mic and I froze, you
okay.
know. And fast forward to now, where I had the opportunity, the privilege to go up on stage in front of 5,000 people and just share, and being able to do that. And I completely understand where you're coming from, because I was shit scared of doing something. I was always thinking, oh, what would they think of me? What would they think of me? Would they like what I say? Would I do well? Would I say something that makes sense? Would I screw it up? And I completely understand that, wanting to do something because you're scared to do it. And that's a good enough reason. Yeah. Why not?
I get, And like to be honest, I'm not even looking at it. This is good enough. Please, it's just, and I love doing it, man. I love doing this. I mean,
Yeah.
as much, it's hard. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There are days that I just feel like, uh, and I think that's there with everything. I think it's just it's just a myth to say that you do what you love and you never and every day is a vacation for you. That's bullshit. I think that even if you do what you love, there are going to be days that you wish you weren't doing it.
Yeah.
There are going to be days where you're like, oh fuck, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, regardless, even though you do end up feeling tired, I mean, who gives? You're doing what you love, and you're still keeping on pushing forward, and you achieve something, and you're like, okay, I can do a lot more. I can do a lot more. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's my why. Plus, I like, more than anything, I just want to look my mom in the eye at one point, and I just want to I just want to see that she's proud. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, just because I know that she's been through a lot. I have put her through a lot as well, and towards the end, if she just like, if I look her in the eye and I see that look that she's satisfied and she thinks that it was all worth it, that's it, man. I mean, I think I've completed. I think I've done what I need to do. That's
I'm
all.
sure you will, buddy. I know you will. In fact, I know you will. But Vishnu, thanks so much for being a part of this. I really,
Thank you
really
for
appreciate
having me
that.
on.
100%, 100%. I'm gonna, in fact, what I'm gonna do, Vishnu, is I'm sure people want to know more about you. So I'm gonna put maybe some of your social media stuff, a way to contact you or something, in the
Yeah, 100%.
in the podcast if you don't mind, so that if anybody wants to get in. I think that that might be pretty cool. And really, man, I think this has been. I wasn't expecting this to come out of this conversation. I was thinking we talk about training, we talk about how it all works, but this was something really, really cool, and that's what I love about these conversations. You don't know what's going to come out of them, and really appreciate your time.
It was a lot deeper than I expected it to be.
Yeah, it was, right? It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Thanks so much, buddy.
Thank you, man. Thanks,